Secretary for Public Affairs Tricia McLaughlin. Tricia, it's great to have you with us, and we've got Senator Van Hollen's trip to El Salvador. It's sort of a publicity stunt. It's fueled by the media. They're calling him a Maryland man, and he should come home. You know, this is really all a hoax at the end of the day. You're talking about somebody who was here in this country illegally, who was a criminal, who was a gang member, really someone who wasn't entitled to, have the shelter of our laws because he wasn't a citizen here. And so all of this outcry that people who are being deported by Trump under his executive order, they should come back, they should be entitled to due process. A lot of people in this country don't see it that way.
Well, Jackie, you nail it. And this Maryland man, who's actually a member of MS-13, he's an alleged human trafficker. We actually have intelligence that says so. He's no actual innocent. He's anything but. Actually, there are reports that came out today, and we have documentation from the courts that his own wife asked for a restraining order for domestic violence. So he's, by all means, in all accounts, a woman beater as well. I don't know why the Democrats and the mainstream media are so hell-bent on bringing a terrorist back to U.S. soil when we've already sent him to El Salvador. We've sent him home. He was born in El Salvador. He's a citizen of El Salvador, and that's exactly where he should stay. Jackie, I'll also add that when we picked this individual up, when he was arrested in 2019, he had rolls of cash on him as well as drugs, and he also was decked out in MS-13 almost uniform, as wearing MS-13 symbols as well. He was in the accompaniment of other MS-13 gang members. So we know who we picked up. We know he's no innocent, and he's no Maryland father, as the media would love for you to believe.
Yeah, and Pam Bondi said today, we're not just deporting people for no reason. If you send him back here, we've got plenty of evidence to send him right back to El Salvador. So why waste the taxpayer dime? Why waste the time and the money to do this? It's the Democrats really trying to sort of slow down the whole process of deportation, because it was okay to open the border with Biden's executive order, but they don't want to respect Trump's executive order to close it and deport criminals. I want to get to this because the real story really isn't about the Maryland man. It's only part of it. It's about the Maryland mother, Rachel Morin's mother, who was Rachel Morin, of course, murdered by an illegal migrant. Listen to her mother speak out to Senator Van Hollen just moments ago.
To have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Why does that person have more of a right? Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungary, Laken Riley, these are people, women in our country that suffered at the hands of illegal migrants. And when Democrats are asked about it, they say, well, there's always, kinks in the system. They don't condemn what's happened. They don't condemn Joe Biden or their open border policies, Tricia.
No, they absolutely don't. And Rachel Morin's mom, I mean, watching that, it's so raw, it's so from the heart. And you see the frustration. Why should we have politicians in Washington representing us when they do more of the bidding of these violent gangs like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua than they do of their own citizens, like Rachel Morin, who, like you said, was a mother of 5, was an actual innocent, unlike this Maryland father that the media wants to spin it to be. My heart breaks for her, but I think, thank God, that President Trump is in the White House. Thank God that Secretary Noem is at the Department of Homeland Security, and she and him are working every single day to get these MS-13 gang members who rape, maim, and kill Americans out of this country. Our border, we're seeing the border crossings of illegal aliens at all-time low levels. And that's something Americans should be proud of, because we are going to be more safe because of it.
Thank God for the administration's efforts to stop it. You're absolutely right. But a lot of damage has been done by the Democrats, who are just trying to prolong this process and make it worse on the American people. Tricia, thank you so much. Good to see you. Tricia McLaughlin.
Good to see you.